Yeah, I will do when we get there. Right, I hope we are live at the moment. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this listening session by the Wildlife Sound Recording Society. This evening's session, we won't be listening to contributions from the various members like we normally do. We have one of our members, Axel, who is going to be telling us all about his adventures that he's been having over the last 2 years, is it, Axel? Following the migration and recording every day wherever the birds are. So I won't say anything further, and I will hand you over to Axel. Axel, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Hans. Well, first of all, thank you for dedicating our listening session. It's funny, we started it 4 years ago, the two of us, during COVID time, and we came quite a long way. And we still do this, and it's nice because I think we do it because we have such a broad group of people joining in from all over the world, and it's really cool. And I will also thank the Wildlife Sound Recording Society, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have gone into a crazy journey of 4 years living in my car to record birds. So thank you. No, this society has been really inspiring for me, and I'm so grateful to be part of it. And let me share a bit what I've been working on. Can you see the screen?
It's just
on YouTube.
It should come through soon. It's just a bit of latency that we're dealing with.
Okay. Let me know if I can start.
Yes, Angel, if you'll just let us know when you've got visual. Should be coming through any moment, because I can see it in YouTube Studio at the minute.
Cool.
Yeah, I see it.
Fab. Thank you very much. So I'm Axel. I'm a wildlife sound recordist. I'm a wildlife sound recordist, a special designer, director, and musician. And over the last 4 years, I decided to dedicate my life completely about recording sounds. And I really wanted to find a way of doing it as much as possible, be in nature, in contact with wildlife also as much as possible, because I learned that if I'm not there, I cannot learn as much, so I need to find a way. And I wanted to explore different habitats and continents. So we developed, with Sounding Wild, my brother, this project called Wings Across Continents, where we would follow the bird migration through Europe and Africa, living in our full-time in our 4x4 cars, following the bird migration from the north of Europe, down the west coast of Europe and Africa, all the way down to South Africa. And every month we will stop at a different migration hotspot and collaborate with the local NGO that we've been already in touch with beforehand. And we will understand where the migratory birds are in that place. And after that, we would stay there for a couple of weeks, for a month. And for a couple of weeks we would record. I would record sounds, and Ari would take pictures and videos, and then at the end we would create an immersive installation using virtual reality and a 10 loudspeaker system, because we wanted to create an experience that we could share with everyone on our journey. And that's what we've been doing, and we reached Sierra Leone the last April. So today I wanted to take you through a bit like the journey and a few recordings in each location. To start with, I wanted to introduce you, as it's a presentation for the Wildlife Sound Recording Society. I wanted to explain a bit how I record sounds. Apart from using my parabolic reflector to record in mono, any sort of, to record in mono, or audio moths, or small, tiny, clippy mics, I use my ambisonic recording. So the one that you see here at the bottom is one of my multi-channel ambisonic recordings that can capture in 360 degrees. Really convenient. I have a multi-channel recording in one rig, really simple to deploy anywhere. I also have a 100 meters cable Ethernet, where I can just have the microphone really far away from me, and I can have the recorder, the Zoom F8 or F8N with me or in the car or somewhere else, so at least that I can leave the microphone, far away from me. Another really experimental thing that we created with Jack Reynolds, who makes these microphones, Reynolds microphones, is a roof rack quad system. So if you see here on top of my car, there is a roof rack, and I fit in 4 mono microphones with some windshield, and then I cable them back inside the car, so I can record in quad without having to get out of the car. I'm going to show you a couple of examples when I did it. Another setup is this cube setup, which has 8 microphones. I wanted to have a setup that was something a bit more open, a bit like AB. When you're recording XY or like with coincident microphones, you tend to have quite a narrow image. The same thing with Ambisonics. You don't have that big, large space. So I wanted to have a multi-channel array that I could take, and I would still have the height information and everything, but in a more portable way, in a multi-channel way. So I built this with my friend Jack, who made the little microphones that go on top of this array, and the inspiration comes from my colleague Harry Copperman, who uses these sort of setups with these nicer microphones. And he has been working brilliantly. I made it super simple, so I can just have the 2 stereo bars at the bottom, they open like that, and then I just screw on top the 4 plastic sticks from a gardening shop that I got, and then the shock mounts for these mics, I just used some foam, because I didn't have any other option there to keep everything nice and simple. So starts from the beginning. So we started the whole project a bit, let's say, we wanted to follow the bird migration and make some stories and record some sounds. So which bird migration we are following? There are many bird flyway migrations. Flyways are sort of like highways in the sky that birds use to migrate. The one that we decided to follow is the East Atlantic Flyway, which includes this whole northern hemisphere, including also eastern Siberia, then going all the way down to the west coast of Europe and Africa, all the way down to South Africa. And as we are based in the UK, we decided, well, let's follow the bird migration in Europe coming from Africa in spring. So let's start around February in south of Spain, and then go up to Germany, which is in the Wadden Sea, which is one of the most important migration hotspots on this flyway. And then let's drive all the way down back again, and follow the bird migration from in autumn, when the bird starts migrating south. So we decided to let's start with a simple one. So let's start from the north of Spain, Urdaibai. And this was May 2022. We decided to start here. We had a really good contact at the Urdaibai Bird Center, and this is where it's a really cool area. This is a little bit of a delta of a river. And there I recorded my favorite thunderstorm. Let me just take a river out. Yeah. I recorded my favorite thunderstorm. Let's have a listen. is a really meaningful recording for me because it was one of the first nights, literally, when we were outside and when we started the project, and we knew that this thunderstorm was coming, and it was the best thunderstorm that I ever recorded. You can literally hear the crackles over your head. And sometimes I fall asleep with that, and I remember the moment when I was there in the car and I had my recorder with me, and I had a long Ethernet cable going a bit, 50 meters away to the microphone. And to avoid to have that sort of like, the raindrops falling onto the head, onto the microphone, I built a little bit of a house, let's say, with some leaves. Actually, I created a structure with some branches. Then I put some foam on top of it, and then some leaves. So in that way, and just like I think it was like 40 meters above the microphone. So in that way, the raindrops would fall on the leaves, but they wouldn't fall on the microphone. And I think a lot of this journey also is about finding situations that maybe not necessarily migratory birds, but because we live all the time in the car, and we go out there and we spend time out there, we sleep out there, we eat out there, we just do all sorts of weird encounters. And another weird encounter was in the same position with the same microphone of the thunderstorm was a wild boar, which came a bit too close to the microphone. That happened around 5, 6 a.m. I was still sleeping with the headphones on, and that happened. So you can imagine like how I just like jumped out of bed. But it did hit the mic, so you don't have that nice low end because it was distorting the microphone. I had to clean it up. But that's another situation where, just because we follow the birds, we do different encounters. And I never managed, this is the first time that I managed to actually to share a lot of sounds that are not maybe necessarily related to the migration of the birds or migratory birds. So that's exciting. Another one that was really crazy was still there, the same location actually, where we were sleeping, and I hear this sound. It was a weird sound, never heard it before. It was just a strange sound, and then I hear a call that you're probably going to recognize, and that was just beautiful realization of what was going on. That's a black woodpecker and its chicks. So I heard these chicks calling, and we just spent, a few minutes looking for them. And then at some point I saw them calling outside their hole on the tree. And Ari took a really beautiful picture, which I didn't manage to share now, but it's on our website. And these black woodpecker chicks are nesting in an eucalyptus tree, which sort of, that was the beginning of us understanding also what invasive species means and what biodiversity means. Eucalyptus trees, they're not meant to be in Spain, they've been imported because they're really easy to grow, they grow really fast. And seeing these birds like nesting in those cavities in these trees sort of made us realize, we should learn more about also these, different habitats and different trees that are around. And it's funny because after a bit we realized that also the soundscapes relate to that. You can start figuring out, if you go on a eucalyptus tree plantation in Spain, it's not much sound going on. There is, but not as much as a, native forest. So we spent a few days with the black woodpeckers there, and every morning just going there, take some videos and pictures, recording sounds. And then, well, the thunder came back. And that was a bit the last time that we saw them. And we never heard them again. So I hope they fledged, but you never know. Oh yeah, my mic was mute, but now you can hear me, I think. That was black woodpecker, just, no, sorry, that was a reed warbler, the common reed warbler, and the migratory bird that really focused our work on when we were there in Urdaibai, in the Basque Country. Then after we did our expedition there, we went to go to Catalonia, and so we had to drive all the way from the Basque Country to Catalonia, and we had to stop somewhere to sleep. And we found this insane place. It was the most quiet place I've ever been, and there I could hear. We saw some swifts, and we could literally hear them flying by how quiet it was and how close to us they were. There was also a bit of realization of how much noise pollution there is around, and how we just can't escape it, even there. Even if it was so quiet, obviously, the airplane arrived when I managed to get the right recording. But to me, I left also the sound ourselves just like commenting on it, because I listened to it back yesterday when I was like editing this experience, this presentation, and it brought me back there, and I didn't even remember about the airplane. I was like, yeah, I don't care about the airplane. The experience of being there and hearing these like swifts flying by was just absolutely beautiful. There's lots of personal memories in there. Moving on, Aigomos de l'Empordà, which is and the most north you can go in Catalonia. Literally here in this little peninsula is where the Pyrenees start. And we had to deal with lots of noise pollution, but I had some really great recordings from there. I'm gonna just skip one recording. One of the best recordings, one of the best situations was like finding there are hundreds of nightingales singing everywhere, even on the side of the road while driving. They were literally everywhere, as common as house sparrows and pigeons together. And in the UK, we just have to go and look in certain pots to find them, and there they were literally everywhere. So a little recording of them from there. Forgot to do the fade. There were so many. It was absolutely insane, and they were even singing during the day. They didn't really care. They would just keep going. And it was May, so it was just amazing to realize how much how much these nightingales are actually also active during the day. And the same happens also in my hometown in Trieste, in Italy, which I wasn't really aware of. And then I recorded my dream bird, my favorite bird ever, the golden oriole. It was really tricky to record it because it was singing only it was singing in the morning, but it would start quite late, and it was really close to this huge, touristic little village. And it was so noisy, so I had to really work on making sure that we would go there, find the right position to avoid noise pollution. But I managed to get some nice recordings, I feel. My favorite, full stop. It just sounds incredible. I'm really going through as fast as I can by giving some ideas of what, giving a bit of an idea of what I recorded at every location, but I spent a month at every location, so we've got so many recordings, and I'm trying to take the ones that really mean something to me, and I have them like below 1 minute. So this is not gonna stay here until 3 a.m. Next stop, still going up, the Camargue in the south of France. Just to give you an idea, it's just up there, down here. And it is a huge complex of wetlands, roads. It's absolutely immense. It's funny when you look at things from Google Earth, you're like, oh, it's 20 minutes drive. No, it takes 1.5 hours or 2 hours to go from one side to the other because you need to avoid, you can't go through the wetlands, you have to go all around it. And there was one thing that was the most common animal there and the most annoying. Mosquitoes. Still have goosebumps from that month. That was crazy. I recorded it with a parabolic reflector pointing at a cloud of them. And yeah, I developed a massive hate towards them. And I was like, but I can't hate them all the time because I need to find a way to sort of love them even though they keep biting me. And one guy from the Pont du Go reserve where we worked said, well, they are the plankton of the wetlands. You know, without them, there is no the food chain. You know, doesn't have a sort of start, and that's true. So I sort of every time they bite me, I'm like, I hate you, but I know you are important for this planet. So okay, it's fine. My way of dealing with it. And then in the Camargue, one thing that I really got obsessed with are herons. I never heard them as much before, and when I heard them there, I was like, wow, that's a really cool sound. And I love how primitive they sound and how, like, yeah, pterodactyl-like they sound, really hardcore. And these are, I think, a mix of grey herons and great white egret also, but the same sort of family. I realized there was also a black crowned night heron in the mix. I heard it like squawking, I think. And I just realized that I recorded this track, I think, in June 2022. So I do listen, sometimes I do listen back to myself, but sometimes I just forget. Moving back, Camargue, going back to the Camargue situation, the most emblematic bird is the flamingo. And we managed to enter, we collaborated with the Pont du Go Reserve, and they do some feeding to the flamingos. I'm usually against recording it. I'm like, recording animals that are fed or like in zoos is not really my style. But the chance of putting a microphone in the middle, literally, of the flamingos feeding, it was just like, you know, I couldn't say no. So this is literally like a ton of I don't know how many flamingos eating and just getting ready to eat before getting fed. And the micro is in the middle. I think I'm gonna jump these two recordings and I'll go straight to the second stage. So we did this first stage, this first phase of the project. So we went from the north of Spain all the way to Catalonia to Camargue, and the idea was to go up, and finish the project. But then we realized that we're still working on the story. We wanted to create a better story that we share to people, how to do it, and we needed more time. So what we decided to do was to take a break. So between August 2022 and January 2022, we just took a break and developed further our project, developed further the message we wanted to tell, how to tell the story with our headsets, and just organize ourselves better. And then we were like, okay, cool, let's do the whole thing again and actually do it properly. We need to go as close as possible to Africa, and then we start from there. So in February 2023, that's when Wings Across Continents really started, from the south of Spain. We popped over to Tarifa just to look at Africa and being like, we're going to be there, just wait for us. And then we went to Doñana, which is one of the biggest wetlands, one of the first stops for the migratory bird coming from Africa into Europe, and one of the last ones from when they go to Africa. As you can tell, there are there's a lot of farmland, an insane amount of farmland. There's a lot of illegal water. There are a lot of illegal water pumps taking water for strawberries, which is not helpful. And also in the last year they had much water. I mean, last year they had more water, but when we were there, it was February. It was meant to be a lot of water. It was completely dry, so it was a really, really precarious situation. And there, one recording I'm always gonna remember is the house martins in a sort of like palace. It was a palace in the middle of a big garden, a big forest, native forest, and there are hundreds of house martins just roosting there. I haven't been there wrecking, but I just saw them flying. I saw the nests on the building. I was like, well, let's put the microphone as close as possible. My second order microphone as close as possible to the nests, and wait for them to come back to roost. And then I put it there. I walked back, and I just started waiting. And they started. I never seen house martins just like congregating in hundreds and just doing vortexes and just like flying all together at the same time to roost. That was absolutely crazy, and an experience that really was so powerful. So this is the recording of that moment. I don't like to call animals or wildlife cute, mostly wildlife, but they are cute. They sound really cute. Another amazing encounter. We had to find a place where to sleep. There was people everywhere. We couldn't park in many places, and then we found some abandoned buildings in the middle of Doñana, and we were like, "That's perfect." And we saw some nests around and some lesser kestrels flying in the distance, and I was like, "Ooh, that could be interesting." So we spent there a couple of days, and we managed to record lesser kestrels, a colony of lesser kestrels there. And also we filmed it in 360. It was really, really cool. So this is the recording from there, and it was also another one of these places that was super quiet. There was no noise pollution, so any sound, like the sounds like a wind that you hear, is the actual sound of the recorders and the microphones, but not the bird. There's nothing else. You can hear how like there was nothing around, and it was super quiet. I would have slept like a baby if it wasn't for the other bird that was starting to make some sounds, like as soon as it was getting darker. Learning from the best, Clive Davis, the best audio moth recordist on planet Earth, and our chair. I also put an audio moth under the nest of a barn owl, and I'm quite happy with the recording, but it was a bit too close this time. pretty intense, really intense. So I'm gonna skip, just because I can tell that it's taking ages for me to go through the different recordings. What have I got here? How long is this recording? White storks. Okay, this is the white storks. The concentration of white storks there was incredible, because they were all preparing to go down to Africa, because it was February. So they started the migration. So there was a huge congregation of white storks, but also we found some big trees where there were, I think, like 13 nests on it, which was really incredible to see, and the sound they make is absolutely, unexpected, really. I think it's unexpected is the right word I was looking for. I'm gonna cut it short, but at the beginning, obviously, it wasn't white storks. It was crows. Which crows were they? I'm really confused now. Too many birds. You tell me, please. Spain. Then we were like, right, cool. Let's move on. Let's go up. Jack those. Thank you very much. Let's go up north. And the next stop is Évora, which is in Lisbon, in Portugal, and it is in the Tagus estuary. It's literally in Lisbon. And for a sound recordist, that looks like a nightmare, an absolute insane nightmare. That just looking at it, you're like, why am I going there to record sounds? But actually, it was a pretty good place to record, I must say. And there is there are a lot of migratory birds and many other different birds there. It was really, really active and really, really fun to be there. And we met so many cool people. And one of the birds that we never recorded before, never heard before, was a colored pratinko. Such a gentle call, and they're in colonies, nesting on the islands, and then sometimes you hear them just like flying above. Really gentle call. I love them, and they are also migratory birds to West Africa. Like the majority of the ones from Doñana, they were also, did they choose all? No, apart from the barn owl, all the other ones, house martins, lesser kestrels, and also white storks migrate to West Africa. At least they start migrating to West Africa. There is an interesting story about white storks and griffon vultures from the south of Spain. They are born in south of Spain, then they start migrating. They go to North Africa or Western Africa to spend the winter, and then they come back, and they do this until while they are juveniles. When they become adults and they are back in Spain, they're like, why am I migrating? Why do I have to go through that crazy journey? And they stop migrating. Which we weren't aware of that. It's incredible. You have that instinct at the beginning that they start migrating, and then at some point they're like, I'm done with that. I'm just going to stick around in Spain and have some jamón, I think these behaviors are just incredible. I didn't know any of this. I just learned while going around talking to people, talking to the experts there. I didn't know about this, and it was quite mind blowing, honestly. Going back to Lisbon, shell ducks. I love the sound of shell ducks. They are absolutely amazing. And here they're also do a little bit of flyover. Absolutely love them. Cool. After that, we just decided to drive for a few days straight, going all the way up to Germany. Just time was getting short. It was like end of April. We needed to crack on and reach the north before it would be too late. So we went straight to the Bodensee, all the way up, drove too many kilometers in too short period of time. And this is the Bodensee, which is Bodensee. It is a whole series of like mud flats and salt flats that stretch from the Netherlands through Germany out to Denmark. So it's a massive nature reserve. And here birds come from all around, from eastern Siberia, the north, the Arctic, everywhere. They congregate here. Such an important major migration hotspot. And here I recorded my first blue throat, which I don't know if you've ever heard it, but it is a crazy sound, personally. Absolutely wonderful call. It has that thing in the middle that, and I heard a couple of times similar from other in other songs from other birds, but never this way. And I don't understand how they make it, but it is absolutely crazy. And there we also met black-headed gulls and Arctic terns. Arctic terns, you may know, is the longest. It holds the record for the longest migration of any bird. It can go from all the way up to the Arctic, down to Antarctica. I don't know how long it takes. I think a month or 2 months. Absolutely crazy sounds. Really noisy when they're in colonies, and we found there's a colony on a dam, on a dam or a big river, and you can go there, and literally there are some barriers. You just sit there and you have so many birds in front of you, and I put the microphone as close as possible to the barrier without going inside the protected area. We really respect. We don't want to create any problems. We just, if we can get a good recording, okay. If we can't get it, it's fine. We just respect the birds. We're not doing anything to just get the perfect shot. It's not about that for us. And so at some point, though, someone passed by, and I think the bird started thinking that my microphone, which was in a camouflage, was a person. So they were really happy about it being there. This recording makes me really laugh. I don't know, something. This Doppler effect of this black-headed gulls. It was so funny. They didn't attack people. No, they didn't attack people. Thank you, Susie, for asking. I didn't see it, at least. But the microphone was there. It was there for a few hours, so maybe they got a bit too. How can I say? Yeah, they didn't like it. So, okay. We've done, we followed the bird migration from the south of Spain to Germany. We didn't stop as much in between France and Germany, but just we are two people in two cars and we can't, do everything. So last year in July 2023, we presented our project to the Global Bird Fair 2023, where a lot of magic happened there. We found new collaborators, and we got a few really important collaborations to kickstart the West African expedition, where the tricky parts begin. So the idea was to follow from the north of Spain, from the north of Morocco, all the way down to South Africa in 1 year. Absolutely possible to do in that time frame, and we learned it, and we've done still some pretty cool stuff. Let's start from, what else would I have here? So we stopped in Jebel Musa, which are the mountains just like on the other side of Tarifa, and it was the most windy place I've been so far. So I got some recordings of wind, but I don't think I need to play recordings of wind in this situation. We stopped in Merja Zerga, which is a bit the mecca of migratory birds. Also, it is really an important place for the slender-billed curlew, which is an extinct bird, and it has a meaning for conservation. So I would say go and check out the story of the slender-billed curlew. But then we stopped in Owa Libya, where our collaborator is based. And Owa Libya is a little stretch of wetland, close to a little touristic village. So many places we've been are close to touristic villages, many wetlands. So there is noise all the time, and I need to deal with it, but it's cool. We learned to deal with it. What have we got here? Okay. We reached Africa. So far we've met birds that we knew already, but the first one probably that I didn't find in Europe yet was the Caspian tern, which migrates, but it was my first time, so it's a bit of it's quite meaningful to me. to get this recording, I literally when I walked in this really nasty mud, whatever that is, and I walked and put the microphone here, and that's, you know, it was pretty quiet there from, you know, from noise pollution. Also because this is a bit of a valley, so the sound from the road goes over it somehow or whatever. It just, there was not much noise pollution, but you hear that nice sort of reverb from there. And there also we met a couple of familiar faces, let's say, the Eurasian carrier and the common redshank. We are not. The project looks at migratory birds that come from Europe, okay, or migratory birds. Also, we shaped it more to work also with migratory birds from Africa. But the thing is, we are following the migratory birds from Europe mostly, and it's funny because I've heard this before in Europe, and then you go to Morocco, completely different place, completely different culture, soundscape, everything, and you hear that sound there, and it's like, oh, so what are you doing here, mate? A bit too far from home, aren't you? So that was it's always an interesting experience to hear a familiar sound, a familiar bird that maybe you, who knows, maybe you met already somewhere in Europe and you meet him or her down in Africa. It's really, I don't know, it's a strange feeling, but I have some other examples later on which are pretty interesting. Then also have some, just to say that, you know, we've been driving all the time around Europe and Africa, and it comes with its challenges. And this is the picture of a video from my dash cam, my rear dash cam, and unfortunately these things happen quite often. But it's part of the game. That's why we got two really strong cars that can sustain these sort of things. It already happened twice, but it's okay. It's part of the game, and you know, when it happens, I swear a lot in Italian and in English, and I mix words together, and I get really upset. But then I'm like, it's cool, it's fine. I'm doing something, you know, it's really fun and it's cool. From Morocco, we go to Mauritania. Mauritania is where I felt Africa started. Morocco was pretty simple, you know, no bribing, no negotiation, roads were perfect. Mauritania is where it started getting more complicated. So I got ripped off a few times. I had to negotiate many times. The roads are awful. The cars started breaking down. So it was literally the beginning of, okay, we have to deal also with that part of the journey. And in Mauritania, we had a special mission. We had to go to one of the most remote places we had to go. So we drove all the way down from the north of Morocco to Mauritania, and that stretch was, I think, 2,000 kilometers, something like that. And then the Bandargan is the migration hotspot of the East Atlantic Flyway. It's literally where the desert goes, it reaches the sea, meets the sea. And here you have millions of birds every year congregating to these places, Bartle Godwits, Dunlins, Redshanks, and all other wader paradise. If you love waders, go to Bagdargan. If you go to Bagdargan, ask me first how to go there because it's quite complicated. You need to drive for 6 hours from the capital, Nouakchott, which is here, to roughly here, and then just turn left at some point in the desert and drive for 2 hours straight in the desert. So we made it happen. Ari's car broke down twice. Mine didn't break down, but we fixed them. And we also fixed them in really cool ways. But here it was where we were like, this place is magical. We were meant to spend there like a week and a half. So we went to the capital, got the filming permits, and we are told, yeah, you can go there, go there to the place so you don't waste time. We went there, we were waiting for the filming permits to arrive, and they're like, until you have the filming permit, you can't film, you can't record. We're like, okay. 2 weeks waiting, no food. We could find rice and tinned tuna, and there was some water in a place around here. Here they say camping, but this is your camping, all right? Just so we get an idea. And there was a water source somewhere here, but no shower for 3 weeks. We couldn't. So you get used to it. It's doable. It's doable. So I'm gonna do it again at some point. I'm maybe gonna bring something else, take a shower. I don't know. Anyway, we're not here to talk about how many showers I took in Africa. The soundscape of that place, it's pretty. There is one soundscape mostly, which is wind and sand. Some birds sometimes in the background with a lot of darlings. If you like quiet and nothing around you, just go to the desert. That's honestly. There are some sounds, there are some really cool sounds, but you need to find them. It's not like that you stumble across sounds or wildlife. You need to find it, but there is wildlife. And so it took 2 weeks. We did 2 weeks of recce while we were waiting for the filming permit. So we were really studying how the birds do these murmurations. Because when they are all together, they start doing these murmurations like starling, but they are all like Bartle Goldthwaits, Starlings, all these different birds that congregate here, and they just like do these incredible movements all together, and I wanted to capture that sonically. So I had to find a way to put a microphone somewhere, and then because they do it when the tide comes in, when we don't have any more space where to feed. When the tide is low, they feed all around the mud. When the tide comes back, they congregate and start making these murmurations. And I was like, well, I need to find a place to put a microphone. So the water is going to go below the microphone, but at least they're going to hopefully fly close to it. So this is one of the 3 best recordings that I got out of like probably 2 terabytes of data that I recorded. Many hours and with different recorders. And how I recorded it was by using this technique. So I had the tripod, and then I took a piece of pipe. I stick it into the sand, wrap the piece of pipe with the tripod so it would hold, and then usually that bag that is at the bottom, it would be roughly under the microphone, and this would give me enough height. So the tide usually is not that high where I was. It was literally like 20 centimeters, so we have enough space just like for the water to flow through and then go back, and then I will go and pick up the microphone the day after, which worked most of the times. One night the tide was higher than the usual, and this is how your Zoom F6 just dies. This is the sound of it. And literally that was it. I found the F6 in the waterproof bag, floating in salt water and battery acid, obviously lost forever. But I got the SD card, and this recording is the last recording that the F6 did. So thank you F6. What should I think I'm going to skip this stuff. Yeah, I'm going to skip it. Just there's not enough time. Let's move on. So you see this place, this is like desert. This is arid, there are not many fruits, not much veggies. It's really, really tough living there. Not easy. Not easy. But as soon as you start going down, you start seeing a bit more green. And already here, this is green. I was literally driving through this road, and I would see a couple of trees, and I would be shouting, green! That was beautiful. And our final our place in Senegal, the next stop was Juge National Park, which is this area. South of the river is Senegal, north of the river is Mauritania. So this is the greenest part of greenest area of Mauritania. But we focused in Senegal. We stayed in the Senegalese part, which is called Juge. And here is where all the birds were. This is literally a sanctuary. If you have to go somewhere, go to Juge National Park in December or in November. It is absolutely incredible. There are birds, animals everywhere. It's absolutely insane. And here, sorry, we managed to find some other animals, not only birds, a bit like the wild boar of West Africa. And this is how the war dogs in Senegal sound. At least I heard them like that. fascinating and disgusting at the same time. I don't know what they were doing. There are no really predators there. They're not predators. So the recorder was close to a height where they use that to sleep at night. Got no idea what the sound was. Didn't have a camera, but he hasn't been killed. It was just a sound of territorial sound. I'm not an expert, but that was scary, really scary. And then, well, one of the coolest sounds that we found there were the black-crowned cranes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful birds, and they are a bit like the trumpets of that area. They sound really trumpety and in their own way. Beautiful sounds, absolutely. You know, when you hear them passing, like, oh wow, that's, you know, it felt like being in Africa. Then I was like, all right, cool, I'm in another continent. I've been already over for like 3 months, but that was really like, wow. And with the Ariel has a beautiful picture, took a beautiful picture with the sunset and the black crown cranes flying. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Okay, we're almost 1.5 hours in. How long for should I keep going? 20 minutes? 10 minutes? No answer? I do whatever. Alright. Black Crown Night Heron. Let's jump straight from here, from Juge National Park. We stopped by the Gambia, but we didn't have, we were in January and there weren't many migratory birds there actually. So we had to, sorry, these are the dogs that I'm dog sitting. Wildlife everywhere. We didn't stop in the Gambia for more than 2 weeks, so we kept going down to Guinea-Bissau. And Guinea-Bissau is where the next big migration hotspot is. So we go all the way down from Juge to Guinea-Bissau, which is in this area. And our focus place will be the Bijagos Archipelago, 88 islands dotted around this area. And absolutely an incredible place. Definitely we weren't able to go with our cars, so we had to park our cars and just take boats to go to different islands. It was, yeah, really, really, really cool. And the craziest thing that we saw is wimbrels on trees. It's like wimbrels on trees is a bit like seeing, I don't know how to the right metaphor, but something that is not meant to be on trees and you find it on trees. Like if you find like a series of cars on a tree, you're like, what are you doing up there? There's no point for cars being on top of a tree. And that was literally like we're in awe looking at these wimbrels and like, why are you there? You're wrong. They were pushed there because there was no air, there was no place where to roost, and it was the safest place. And this is how they sounded. This is when they would arrive to roost. This recording was taken on Bubaki Island, which should be this one, and it should be literally around here, this area, or this area, yeah. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, here. Oh no, sorry, forgot it. I got it. It was here, this area, just before the mangroves. Guinea-Bissau is also where the magic of recording birds I like how they vocalize started. And I found the Eurasian reed warbler in the mangroves while walking, and I was like, mate, what are you doing here? And you listen to it, and you can hear it doesn't have its full song. It has a different song. It's not the greatest of recordings, but it just showed me how these birds, before leaving, some people told me, oh, but birds don't, birds that breed in Europe, they don't vocalize in Africa. I was like, really? I did a bit more research and I talked to other people, and yeah, they do vocalize in Africa, and sometimes they're also in unexpected places. We were there with two ornithologists, and they didn't really know how to recognize birds with their songs. I was like, oh, there is a Eurasian reed warbler there, and they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, just listen to it. And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, listen to it, and just listen to the song. I'm like, oh my God, there's a Eurasian reed warbler here. I'm like, yes, exactly. So if we could only learn a bit more about these bird calls, maybe, who knows, maybe we'll find many other birds, migratory birds in Africa. So that was my first sort of like wow moment. And then after that, I drove down through Guinea, but I had to go to Sierra Leone straight away because I had to meet someone there. My friend Peter and Paul. My friends Peter and Paul, who work in Sierra Leone, because they told me that there are many interesting species that I should check out in Sierra Leone, both close to the sea and inland. But I went inland to work more on the different species that were there. And Paul Robinson told me, oh, there are willow warblers here, and I'm like, and the willow warblers, they are in Sierra Leone, in Tambaklibi National Park. Sorry, I just skipped it. Which is here, just to give you an idea of how far we drove. Oh, Tambaklibi is here, and there are willow warblers here. And he was like, maybe you can record some if you come quick enough. I'm like, yes, okay, cool. So I drove down Guinea. It was crazy driving through like the most like crazy off-road drives I ever had to do, but also really nice tarmac roads, a bit of, both extremes. And then I reached there, and after a few days, we finally found the willow warbler singing. This is these willow warblers, in theory, are the Scandinavian population that comes in this area of Sierra Leone to winter. can also hear me at the beginning, halfway through, like here saying, yes! And I was like, yes! Finally found them! So that was really, really, really powerful as a moment of, we drove from up here, to go here. And these birds actually come from up here. And they fly all the way down here. Maybe in 20 days, it took me 7 months to do this little stretch, which is absolutely nuts. There also started fun. I found, so while traveling, I also found a couple of birds that was really interested in recording. They are not migratory birds, but they sound so cool and so amazing. One of them is the brown-throated wattle-eye. It sounds like music. It is music, not like music. It is music. Music comes from this bird. I heard it for the first time in Senegal, and it just took me 3 months to record it properly. 3 months, and this is the only like 40 seconds they have of good recording, because he has this song that is really difficult to understand where it comes from. It doesn't sound like it's coming from that point up there, but it sounds like coming from that area. So I spent time with the parabolic trying to figure out where it is, and then it keeps moving, so it's a bit crazy. So this is the best recording I had. And now I'm going to start manipulating, also doing some other creative stuff. But I really wanted to capture that perfection of that song. And then I love sounds that are a bit more hardcore also, or a bit more like weird. And the Tropical Boo Boo is absolutely amazing as a sound. It's an amazing song. I love it. And there's another bird I love, which is the great blue turaco, but I haven't got a good recording, so I'm not gonna share it because I'm not happy with it. I mean, I'm going back to Sierra Leone in November. But then the last recording that I wanted to share is a recording they've done with my iPhone. Which people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, you're good with your iPhone." I was literally taking a cold bath in a swamp. That doesn't sound that nice, but when it's 45 degrees, 95% humidity, and you have a bit of water, which is colder, probably it's gonna be it was 30 degrees temperature Celsius. You go there, and then so I went into this swamp, got a bit refreshed, got out of it, and then I hear this song, and I'm like, what is that? It was a nightingale, but I was literally like in my trousers or whatever, my trunks, swimming trunks. I didn't have anything with me. I was like, I need to record it, and I just recorded it with the iPhone, and I was so excited. I mean, I recorded a nightingale in Sierra Leone. It's maybe one of the first recordings of a nightingale in Sierra Leone. Not that I'm the first one, whatever, but this bird, the recording was being made on the 29th of March, so it was on the way back probably from somewhere. I mean, it's just crazy to think about this bird. You know, I was practicing before going back, or while going back. This is the recording.
Kotor village, Sierra Leone, probably common nightingale singing.
And, well, this was just a recording I wanted to share. Also because it's the recording. This is going to kickstart the next phase of the project starting in November 2024. My car is still there, full of, not completely full, half full of equipment. I'm going to go there and I'm going to keep following the bird migration on a new project called Sounds Across Continents, where I'm going to follow 5 different species all the way down to South Africa, and I'm going to follow where they go, capture the stories of them and the birds that they other birds from the local villagers, recording music, studying their dialects, the birds' dialects, and creating installations every month with a 10 loudspeaker system still, but with blindfolds, so without the VR headset, just to I want to get a bit more of sound stories and make people realize how cool their sounds are and how much these birds have inspired also music over time. So this is it. Thank you so much for sticking around for this long. I love talking, as you can tell. And I hope it was interesting, and if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, Axel. Thank you very much indeed.
Super. Thank you so much. So inspiring.
Thank you. To answer Clive, which 5 species I'm going to follow, I'm still deciding which species, but I'm going to announce them at the end of this month. But it's probably Eurasian golden oriole, common nightingale, common swift, and I need to figure out other 2, which maybe are going to be African migrants. I know it's a lot of stuff that went through. Loads. But it's been a crazy journey. Crazy journey. And if anyone wants to join me from November, please join me. Just need a tent. I'll go all the rest. Cool.
Sounds like there are loads of volunteers lining up.
Yeah, is it? I swear we're going to find a way to take showers more often.
That would be great.
No, right?
Just more swamp baths.
Sorry?
Said more swamp baths, no showers.
Yes. Yeah. Swamp bath. Yeah, swamp bath. Yeah. It was actually pretty nice. You had to literally like do a push down, because if you would jump in the swamp, all the mud would come up. So you have to go slowly in the water. No, there are no leeches. I haven't found leeches yet. But I saw black mamba, which is pretty hardcore.
There are no large reptiles.
Sorry?
No crocodiles or.
No, I haven't. Oh yes, I've seen some crocodiles, but not many in Juj in Senegal. Tiny ones also, pretty tiny. I could find them, and then hippos in Sierra Leone. So the first hippos. I got some nice recordings of the male doing the which is really cool. A bit too far though. I wanted to get a bit closer, but it took also there like 3 days to manage to get that recording. But other animals a bit more. Well, in Sierra Leone there are lions, savanna lions. So they're not the African, not the Southern Africa ones with the big crowns, whatever. They are much more slim. African elephants and leopards also. I didn't see any of these because they are like in the deep forest. But hopefully, I'm gonna get some more recordings in Sierra Leone in November. I'm gonna spend there a few more weeks.
Axel, did you encounter any bats?
Bats, yes. Actually, one of the things that I wanted to share was the fruit bats, because I didn't know about fruit bats, that they are as big as like gulls, and I found them the first time that I saw them, and I was like, "What is that?" It was in Nouakchott, in the capital of Mauritania. Is it here? Anyway, yeah, it should be around here. Yes, in the capital of Mauritania, and they were literally at dusk. They would just all go towards one direction. So I started following them, and what happened? Where they would go? They would go. I think it was here. Yeah, they would go to this dump/lake to drink in the evening. And it took a couple of days to figure out their route, but then I managed to get some recordings from them, but I wasn't really happy, and I was like, oh, am I ever gonna see other fruit bats in Africa? And then when I was in Guinea-Bissau, on the island in Bourbaki here, literally in the village, there were thousands of them every night, so I managed to get some nicer recordings. So that I managed to do that, and I recorded the first recording I did of the bats was with a roof rack setup, because I was in the evening in a capital in Mauritania. I wasn't really feeling that safe, so I managed to just drive close to the tree, press record, and I started recording, which was pretty cool. It worked that time, that setup.
Yeah.
I don't have really. I have the wildlife acoustics thingy, but I didn't really focus a lot on bats, honestly.
Sure. We have plenty of fruit bats here in Australia if you want to come and see them.
Oh, nice, yes.
Yeah.
I need to follow the Australasian Flyway at some point. That would be fun. Maybe by boat.
Well, we're at the bottom end of the flyway, so there's a lot. We get a lot of. We see them all at this time at the when they're down in the south. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I can't wait to come to Australia. It's a place that I haven't been to yet. It sounds really exciting, sound-wise.
Axel, can you remind me the name of the Spanish bird? Is it Spanish, or the one that is born in Spain, then migrates,
so
then decides?
White storks and griffon vultures.
Griffon vultures.
Yeah, that's a crazy story.
I need to take notes from that story
If you
for
ever
my
go
own self.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you ever go to Tarifa, that you want to go and check out the migration there, I put in touch with the bird. There are a couple of people that do tours, but there is one guy that almost lives on an observatory, and he's like the man. He knows all the birds. He knows where they come when they comes. Diego, in Kazaya Observatory.
Fantastic.
Yeah, but that thing of like they migrate and then they stop migrating after 3 years, that was crazy story.
Spanish
So
vultures invented Erasmus.
Yes.
And sometimes they bring friends. I mean, the other species of vulture with them, buitre moteado in Spanish. I don't.
The Ruppel vulture.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, they bring it. He joins them. They're like they get too bored in Morocco and they start coming. They start flying towards north, and then the griffon vultures go through the channel, the Gibraltar Strait, which is 14 kilometers. The reason why they migrate there is because is the only place where there are some thermals going over the water, and white storks, griffon vultures, they all use thermals to fly. So, but the point is, griffon vultures and white storks know how to use the thermals over the strait, but Ruppel's vultures, no, they don't. So sometimes you literally see, well, unfortunately, a lot of times they just die because they try, but they don't know how to deal with it. Or you see just groups of them just sitting on one side of the mountain, just waiting, being like, why am I here?
I've been there twice in September, and it's crazy. Like, you see hundreds of white storks over your head, and hundreds of kites waiting for the wind to subside and cross over the strait. Crazy.
It is absolutely crazy, yeah. If you time it right, you can see. I haven't timed it perfectly to see like the majority of the birds, but there are honey buzzards, even like groups of bee-eaters, just like in hundreds going. It's a really exciting place. Really exciting place. But yeah, I hope it just gave some ideas. Finally managed to do this and share a bit of the sounds. Thank you, Hans, for forcing me to do it.
Yes, well, let's not talk about it.
What do you mean?
It was hard work managing you.
Come on. I know. I'm pretty demanding.
You are, yes. But it's great.
Cool. Well,
right, people.
I don't know if any
other. No more questions then, I gather.
Can I ask a question?
Of course you may, Greg.
I'm just curious about your like sort of your workflow. Like when you make a recording, then you're out in the wild. What do you do with it? You come back to your truck.
So I go back to my truck. I'm just gonna share my screen again. I've got my field recording template, and well, first of all, I copy all the files using a laptop. I copy the files from the SD cards into two SSDs. And then I take these two SSDs, one I put on the side and one I take it with me. And then the problem that I have is, as you could tell, I have a lot of recordings in multi-channel. I want to create the spectrograms of this. And it takes a lot of time. So I got a Raspberry Pi 4, I installed Reaper in it. And Raspberry Pi uses only like 15 watts, something like that. So I just like take the SD card, the SSD, plug it into the Raspberry Pi, and I let Reaper on the Raspberry Pi do all the spectrogram work of just like analyzing the audio and just creating the spectrograms. So I don't waste like 60-70 watts of energy of battery from the laptop. Then as soon as that's done, I come here, I organize the recordings by 24 hours. So this is, for example, today is the 8th of the 9th, 2024, and this is 24 hours. This is the 09/09/2024, and I keep going this way. I just drop the audio to my main channels. I drop them in, I sync them all, and I then end up having them on, I end up having I end up having the audio organized for every day with different recorders. And then I go through each recording, and depending on what I'm looking for, I either create regions with different colors, so I know to which color each region is meant to, which track each region is assigned to. For example, if I have a recording from this ambisonic microphone, I know now, I know this field template is like, it's my Bible. I know it's a mess, but I know how it works. And then I have different regions for different sounds, different tracks or different colors, and I write notes. Or on the Wildtronics, I just have the items, and I just split the items and rename the items. And then from there, I just keep doing it. But I learned that I need to do it every day. I can't leave recording for too long. I can leave for a few days, but then I forget things. I always record at the end of the recording some notes, and I just say, where I was, what happened, what would be interesting to find. So if now I go through the recordings of 2 years ago, I can get it. But that's my workflow.
Nice, thank you. Yeah, so you're almost using Reaper as like your kind of browser and using it to catalog as well.
Yeah, literally, Reaper is super powerful for that. I have, well, now this is not a project, this is the project I just made, but you have all the regions here, and with all the names, I can go through the regions. Imagine, so these are markers, but imagine I can, for example, I want to render, this is a region on a marker now. I want to render these 4 regions. I can say, okay, cool, render these 4 regions. I can't do it because there are no regions. I don't have an example here. Yes, I literally use it as a browser also. Sometimes I don't even render stuff.
Yeah. And where is everything just backed up to hard drives, or do you have like online backups? Sorry, my archivist brain is like kicking in.
I didn't hear anything what you said.
Oh, right, okay. I don't know.
Go ahead. I didn't. It was a glitch.
Is it me or is it you?
I could hear it.
Okay. Yeah, I said, well, where do you back things up? Hello?
It's gone.
Hello?
Yeah, okay. Did you say how I back up everything in terms of hard drives and Google Drive?
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, so I have, because I was with Ario, we had 2 hard drives, so I would copy everything into my SSD, portable SSD, and then I would copy these into my bigger SSD, which is for, this is actually lazy, it's not SSD, just like
mechanical hard drive.
Yeah, mechanical hard drive, 4 terabytes, this is 1 terabyte. Usually I run around like 1 terabyte per month, so I copy this thing into this one, and also into another one that Ario had. And I would always have 2 copies in 2 different locations. Actually, it would be 3, because this is always with me, and this one is in the car, and then the other copy is in Ario's car. And then we also had Starlink, but we would try and upload stuff with Starlink, but it's not fast enough.
So how long between uploads to the cloud? I'm asking because depending on the hard drive format you use, you are running a really high risk. I may make some suggestions about that for the next time.
Sorry, I didn't understand the internet dropped again.
Sorry, I was saying how long between uploads to the cloud to Google. I ask, sorry, noise outside. I ask because depending on the disk format you use, you may run a high risk of losing data. I may suggest a better format. I will research it for you. Did you hear me now?
So it looks like he objected to that question so vehemently that he actually just left.
I came back.
Oh, you're back. Okay.
Uncomfortable questions.
Very uncomfortable.
Did you get any of that, Axel? Oh, I think he's gone again.
He's gone again, yeah. No, he's back again.
I will write it down anyway, because, well, my broken English is like...
I look frustrated.
Yeah.
That was I don't know if you can hear me, but I was thinking that was a really important question too, especially looking at some of the drives that Axel's using, and I know that there's been some issues recently about them. I've just recently changed some of my drives, but it concerns me as well when traveling that you're recording all these fantastic sounds, and you want to share them, so you don't want to lose them. So I'd be really interested in what Jorge has to say as well. Thank you.
Make 6 copies.
Well, in theory, yeah. So my rule is 3 copies, but obviously when I'm in Africa, there it was a bit tricky to have 3 copies. Also, budget-wise, I mean, we had like 2 of these each. It started costing money. And these ones, they are the 1 terabyte ones, which actually work. The 2 terabyte ones are the bad ones.
Mm-hmm.
These ones are actually pretty cool, the SanDisk 1 terabyte. But probably if I would get new ones, I would get the Samsung ones.
Yeah, I have Samsungs and no problem. And I just wanted to ask a question to Borja. Are you talking, for instance, in sending the files, upload the files, for instance, in a FLAC format instead of WAV?
No, I was talking about the on-disk file form, on-disk file system. I mean, there are different ways to arrange data on a disk. Some of them are much more fault-tolerant than others. And the common disk formats we use on SD cards and the like are really, really lossy. So there are much better disk formats used in big systems that can really resist corruption. So they're great for using the field. I'm gonna check one, ZFS. Maybe you have heard of it. I've been using it maybe with, say, 1,000 disks for 10 years, no data loss yet.
Cool.
Cross fingers, because it's not good to talk about, to brag about those things. But, well, I work for an ISP, and it's a really amazing file system. And now you can run it on a Raspberry Pi. So you can use it realistically on the field, and it can survive even a complete breakdown of 1 or 2 drives. So, well.
Great subject for an article.
Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
Please.
Well, I think the other thing that I'll just put in here as well is that being that you sort of mobile, power consumption is a major concern as well. So I think it ends up being a bit of a toss-up between what's sort of desired versus what's practical, financially, power-wise, space-wise.
You asked me the question now because I heard only half of it.
No, I didn't ask you a question. I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to help you out. I'm just saying that, you have considerations in terms of, backup is important, but you're living in your car, so space is an important aspect. Power consumption is an important aspect because sometimes you don't have access to mains power. So
Never.
To a certain extent, you have to settle for something that's not ideal, but it's the best that you can do, under the circumstances.
Yeah, there is lots of. There's been. I've worked professionally as a sound recorder, so I've been having to deal with that. But I didn't have to deal with the backing up in the car and knowing that I have just like that much solar panel, that much power in the car. So yeah, I had to come up with ways that are like simple, that I can take anywhere, that I can remove from the car, because I would love to have a 48 terabytes NAS in my car, but that becomes what if I had to work on a desk and the car doesn't work? I have to take the car to the mechanic, dodgy mechanic in the middle of the car. I'm not gonna leave my stuff there. Everything needs to be ready to take and go, And if someone wants to steal my car, I'm like, take the keys, give me them hard drives, please. You don't do anything with them. Take the keys, go, enjoy it. It's a good car, but give me the hard drives, or finding a way to have the hard drives in the backpack. Yeah, it's not ideal, but it works so far. I messed up. Just be careful with the Pi, and always, before running anything on a Raspberry Pi, do a second backup. That's my advice, because once my power died when I was doing the spectrogram processing on the Pi, and I lost 2 days of work. Luckily, it wasn't important, but
yeah.
Axel, sorry.
Sure, I promise I will write an article about that for the magazine. But you can build a portable micro NAS with 3 or 4 of these tiny disks. This one is 2 terabytes, and the Raspberry Pi. And the file system is designed in a way that even a catastrophic power loss guarantees that you may lose maybe 2 minutes of work. It stores the data like a log, like a sequential log, so that when you are writing new data, you are not touching the old one. So even many catastrophic corruptions are limited in scope, in damage. So it's really, really important. Okay, I promise I will write it. Maybe it's a good suggestion for everyone here.
I use Open Media Vault. You know it? Have you used it?
Yeah, but well, that's usual level stuff. I mean, that doesn't control the underlying disk format, which is the important thing here.
Okay.
That's a user interface mostly.
Okay. It would be great to have an article. You will save many sound recorders' lives and years of life.
Well, the software authors would. I didn't write it. I have contributed a pair of bug fixes, but nothing else in the past.
Axel, can I ask about this sonogram spectrogram thing you were explaining? You're making the spectrograms. That's an important thing for you to do them.
Yeah, because
yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. I wanted to understand that process of it.
Because I work in multi-channel, to make 10 minutes of these, it probably take 10 minutes of spectrogram of 8 tracks, 8 channels of audio in one track. It takes, I don't know, a few minutes, and sometimes I record for 14 hours with 3 recorders. And so to do all the spectrogram, it would take like probably 2 hours. So instead
you mean for Reaper to create them? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So that's the easiest power way to save power is to do it with the Raspberry Pi. And I can install the Raspberry Pi on Reaper. I can control it from my phone. I don't even have to plug in the laptop or anything. So I don't. Honestly, the last 8 months I was there, it was amazing. I didn't use the laptop many days. I was just using it when I had to actually do editing. But if I'm out in the field and I want to back up and I want to just like stay for 3 days just like working, I can and save power. I don't switch on the laptop. I just use the phone, connect to the Raspberry Pi via the router over Wi-Fi, and I can do all the basic processing and basic like preparing stuff. And so when I switch on the laptop, I just drop the files in Reaper, and they're ready to be played back, and I can scroll through the spectrogram.
I'm gonna have to learn about this Raspberry Pi business. I have no idea. I've heard it many times, but I don't know at all what it is, so but it sounds great.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Really interesting. The
Can you write an article?
library had the cyber attack last year, and everything kind of went offline. All our PCs were taken away, and all the other departments kind of fell behind. But the Sound Archive were quick thinking on their feet and got Raspberry Pis in, because we weren't getting any grant to buy new PCs or anything like this. But Raspberry Pis are relatively cheap, and we've been able to carry on digitizing just to Raspberry Pis, and they're not connected to the internet or anything like that. They just have Reaper on, and then they're connected to SSDs and cloud storage, and that's it. But yeah, it's been a really useful solution, and I think they're now working on portable solutions like what Axel's talking about, where we can actually kind of take little Raspberry Pis out to remote locations and help people set up their own archives wherever they want.
Makes a lot of sense. I can write something basic. Just set up a Raspberry Pi and install Reaper, and yeah.
That'd be super interesting.
We'll sort it out.
Right, so it sounds like we've got the next issue of the journal sorted out for James.
Done. Filled up already.
Exactly, yeah.
Cool. Any other questions? I've got all my fingers still. That's a...
Well, I mean, when you were saying you only saw small crocodiles, I was thinking to myself, you should worry about the ones that you can't see.
There was a question about the leeches. Did you get leeches in the swamps?
There are no leeches there.
No leeches.
No. Okay. I don't know afterwards in other parts of Africa, but I haven't found leeches so far. Safe.
How many ticks have you had to remove?
Ticks? I actually haven't got.
Well, he spent most of his time in Sahara, so he's probably not that much. Yeah.
Really. No.
Next year.
There's still goats.
Mosquitoes to the next level. And then there is a thing, I highly advise it. There is a thing on Amazon you can buy for 40 quid. There is a little machine like that. There's a ceramic plate, and when you get a bite from a mosquito, you just put that thing on the bite, and it heats up the mosquito bite, and it doesn't itch anymore.
Brilliant.
I sent another article here. We go.
Gadgets to take. Yeah.
Yeah.
Super.
Cool. Someone asks, Sue, what? But are you doing a documentary or research? So I'm doing whatever I want, really. It's my own project. So I don't do research. I'm not a scientist, I'm an artist, but I base my knowledge on research and work, and I collaborate with researchers, and I make documentaries. So far we've been making documentaries and sharing them to people in VR, but now I'm working on making different versions of these documentaries so I can share them on YouTube as standard 2D videos or 360 videos, and then do more installations in Europe. So I want to take this project around as a tour also. So more on the storytelling side of things rather than research based, but you never know, because the recording Nightingale, maybe it's going to be useful at some point, or but that's not my main reason. I like to tell stories. That's my thing.
Well,
yeah, and the price of Raspberry Pis has been going up like crazy because they love to use them for crypto mining and stuff like that. So yeah, but you can find them. I mean, the Raspberry Pi 4 is as powerful as a laptop from 2010 probably, or something like that. It's absolutely crazy, Absolutely crazy.
But don't you have to know how to program to use them?
basic, and probably you can start even without it. You can just like download the thing. Actually made it super simple now. They made it really simple. You don't even have to start any code or anything. It's really simple to start. But that's something that maybe I could write down as a basic
ChatGPT.
Sorry?
You can ask ChatGPT to give you the codes to do this.
It's so stupid. It still
Be
doesn't
careful
do the
with
codes I
that.
want.
Be very careful with that.
It doesn't want to do what I want. I don't care. I don't have time to waste.
The Achilles heel for Raspberry Pis in Africa actually can be heat, because they can be complicated to cool down.
Yeah, but and then you still need if all the memory is in a micro SD card. If the micro SD card breaks, you're doomed, and you can't really install a Raspberry Pi without a laptop or a machine to install into the SD card, so that it's not as quick. So yeah, in my car it works. I had two of them, so one is as a backup there. I was also using one thing that I had was I was using one Raspberry Pi as a BirdNet Pi. So I drill a hole through the car, and I had always a microphone recording outside. So if I was having lunch and I would hear some sound, probably would pick up me with the cutlery and thinking there is a capercaillie, but also it would pick up the other sound and tell me what sound that was. So that's a cool thing. That doesn't require a lot of skills, coding skills for that. Also pretty straightforward. So I can also do that.
One question, quite different from what we've been talking about. Did you have any problems getting permits for anywhere?
No. Well, it was just long sometimes, but I didn't really have problems because I went there as to record the problem is film. People don't even think that you want to record sound. They don't care about sound. They think about film. So because we were filming, I had to go through different steps. So I had to get in touch with some people, and then because I'm not doing it for money and I'm not sponsored, I've been mostly self-funded. Now I've got a sponsor that covers costs at least, and collaborators. I go there to the Department of Environment of Senegal, and I told them, yeah, we want to do this project. We're also going to share the story to locals. So it's not a profit. I'm not doing it for my company. It's a thing that I just do, and we'll see if it goes somewhere. But it's not commercial work, and I haven't paid for it. I didn't have to pay for any permit, so it's doable. But I need to go through some steps. And every place is different, and every place takes longer time. So if you want to go anywhere and do some filming, you ask me. But if you go as a tourist, my visa was always tourist visa. I never have work visa. And that was pretty straightforward, honestly. Straightforward. Now I say it. Sometimes I cried, but now it's straightforward. So for you, if you ask me, it's going to be straightforward for you.
Axel, the impression I had is that Mauritania is the most complicated in terms of, how can I put it? Not unrest, but in terms of, things happening in the desert, or is that
logistics?
Logistics.
I think logistics side, yes, it was the most complicated so far, just because you had to drive through places. In terms of safety
is the word.
Yeah. I had one problem once, but I heard some gunshots, but there were gunshots from a hunter, because I heard it was like a one go. It wasn't a semi-automatic that extremists use. So that was, and they wouldn't really they would come and take us anyway. So never had problems like that. The problems happen when you are an Instagrammer, you want to go and take a picture in some crazy places. That's when the problem happens.
In what sense?
Well, a lot of tourists just go over the limit just to go to crazy places, to have a good YouTube channel, or to go through for the crazy journey. And that's what you see in the news.
Right.
The problems come from people that push the limits too much. I don't push the limit. If I can't go because there is like a problem, I'm like, I don't care. I'm not going to put my life at risk. But many people, for the adrenaline, for whatever, they take risks and then they go into trouble. They go into trouble with their life, or they bring trouble to the country even, because, you know, if someone gets taken by a group of extremists, which it's the extreme minority of the extremists, like everything, they're the ones that the small number of people do stupid stuff and end up on the news. These ones, they create problems, and, you know, the embassy kicks in, and then the whole process kicks in, and the news end up, people have been killed in Mali, taken, or Burkina Faso or Sierra Leone, and then that's, you know, and that's people lose jobs also and stuff. You know, there is a whole economy works around media there, and so it's just being responsible. It's people travel solo. I'm gonna travel solo from November. I've met people that hitchhike with their dogs, female solo travelers, hitchhiking or by car or by motorbike, couples in motorbikes, but, you know.
So you didn't encounter in all that, because Mauritania is absolutely massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it is huge. It is
you
huge.
did not encounter, obviously, the density there must be, at some point there must be no one for ages.
Yeah. At some point there is no one. You're literally like in the middle on your own, and if something happens, you know, you have to deal with it. But both of us had a GPS, a Garmin InReach, so at least to send the messages in case of problems. Production-wise, we knew the closest roads, and we always record our trucks. We have contacts of people from each country, so if something happens, we send them a text or stuff like that. So I've been doing all that sort of safety measures. I'm not just going, let's go that way. I just don't. So because I've been working as a producer before, I learned also that side of things, risk assessment and things like that. It's extremely boring, and I hope that I never have to trigger it, but it's good to have it in place.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I highly advise. I mean, there is nothing you don't need the big cars. You don't need anything. You know, I've seen people going with Peugeot 206. You know, the only problem is you go and you're gonna have a lot of stuff to deal with the car. So lots of people do these trips because they love going into the trouble of fixing the car, for example, or a challenge. I wanted to get a car which is anyone can fix, that I can get repair parts anywhere, and I don't need to worry too much about it. And I got Toyotas. Mine is a Hilux, and Arios is a Land Cruiser. We fixed them anywhere, and we got them fixed anywhere. Because I'm going there to work. I'm not going there to just, you know, fix the car. So, but that's my thing. But you don't need. It does cost money. Yeah, it costs money. Every month for two people, 2 cars was around $2,500. Everything. 2.5, 3 grand, everything. Just, I'm not, you know, as an idea, average. Including insurance, travel insurance, car insurance, the car, anything that breaks, food, fuel, visas.
Much cheaper than being here.
Yeah.
So.
But what I'm saying is just like, also to just finish a bit the whole thing is like, don't wait to be safe in whatever situation to just do something like that. You don't need any. You can go with a recorder. You can go without recorder. You can go by bike. You can go, but just go wherever you want to go. That's what I'm saying, because I'm happy that I'm doing it now, you know. But you can do it anytime. But you must go, because if not, then, you know, and it's doable. It's absolutely doable. And the community is cool. People are cool. There's the overlanding community, WhatsApp chats now, or people helping each other. What's going on with the Mauritanian border? Oh yeah, we waited 22 hours on the Mauritanian border. All right, cool, let's go that way. You know, there is always that helpful community there, which is cool.
Fantastic.
And if you have for West Africa, if you have any questions, just ask me. I've been there. I can direct you to the right people.
So did you make it to South Africa, or
no,
you?
No.
Okay, yeah.
Sierra Leone,
Okay.
which is on the where West Africa does that.
Yeah, at that point there. Yeah.
At that point, yeah, and then I'm gonna go back there in.
Where the green starts again on the map.
Yeah. It's literally now it's rainforests. Now it's really like all the exciting stuff.
Oui.
Yeah, really green.
Beaucoup
So that's
plus.
gonna be really, really
C'est très intéressant.
Super.
Soyez là après.
Laurent, we can... All right. Thanks so much, Axel.
Thank you for sticking around. I hope it was fun.
Super fun.
Just getting back to that discussion, Angel, about problems and things like that. I think what a big difference that comes in with all these sort of things, of course, is your attitude. You can't have an attitude when you do these sort of things because I don't know. The Western world works one way, but Africa has a different way of doing things, and you can't make them work your way. They do things their way, and you just have to go with the flow. And there's no point in getting worked up about it or annoyed about it or anything like that. You just have to sort of, like I said,
it works even on a smaller scale from Spain to England.
Yeah.
You can't make the English people work your way because...
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Flexibility foremost, I would imagine.
Yeah, like I say, I think attitude will get you so far. If you have the right sort of attitude anyway, it will get you so far in life. But if you have the wrong attitude, you'll go nowhere. Or not anywhere you want to go anyway.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like he's left us now.
Is the YouTube still going? And
YouTube is still going, yes. I think we'll call it a night as far as concerned. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening in on this, and we'll see you on the next session soon enough. Good evening and good night.
Thanks, Hans.